Puerto Rico, historical, culturally rich, and filled with many treasures, and home to some of the best golf you can play anywhere in the Caribbean. Including our course of the week, the Robert Trent Jones designed layout here at the Bahia Beach Resort and Golf Club, a world-renowned golf course that sits on a former coconut farm and maritime forest that straddles the Atlantic Ocean. With the Atlantic Ocean to the north and the yunque rainforest to the southeast, golf course architect Robert Trent Jones Jr. was given 18 holes of golf to redesign. And when he was finished, he created one of the best layouts you can play anywhere in the Caribbean. Although Bahia Beach was designed with the resort golfer in mind, it still provides players of all skill levels with a strategic and challenging golf experience. Bahia Beach is not a very long layout by today's standards. The back black tees played a 68-90.
So necessarily you don't need driver off the tee, but you need to make sure to place your tee shots in the right spot so you can have a good chance at hitting the greens.
Off the tee, this golf course can be pretty intimidating, with palm trees and other tropical foliage lining both sides of the fairway throughout much of the layout.
Once you go all the way back, it's very challenging. Landing areas get tighter. So the more you move forward, they get a little more wide open. But from all the way back, landing areas are tighter. The wind comes into play. So it's definitely a challenge for those single handicap players if you go all the way back.
And while you are hitting to fairways that are generous in size, water does come into play on 15 of the 18 holes. And then there is the bunkering. That can factor into your game as well.
They're there to make you think on the tee box. You really want to think, what club you're using and what a line you're going to take. Some of them are not very penalizing, so even though you end up on them, you got a shot at the green.
And while this is considered a first shot golf course, you still have to hit good approach shots into greens that are well protected. The greens themselves are above average in size and are pretty receptive to most approach shots coming in. On the putting surfaces, you'll find some movement, but nothing extraordinary. And word has it that most putts will fall off towards the yunque rainforest off in the distance. And when it comes to scoring out here at Bahia Beach, the key word is patience.
You really gotta, like I said at the beginning, pick your lines. Don't try and get too aggressive. This course, if you get too aggressive, it's gonna bite you. Par fives, you can definitely birdie, but I wouldn't say go after the birdie. Play them safe and wait for the birdies to fall.
The Robert Trent Jones Jr. designed golf course at Bahia Beach Resort and Golf Club. One of the best courses you can play in Puerto Rico and really anywhere in the Caribbean.
But there's another aspect to that. There's one last bunker that is about another 30, 40 yards past that group of bunkers, and it's downhill. So if you're too long, you can end up in that last bunker.
You really can roam about very freely and really feel like you're in your own private enclave.
One of the great par fours on this Robert Trent Jones designed golf course here at Bahia Beach is hole number 2. Aptly named Boiling Bunkers, for the series of bunkers up the right-hand side of the fairway that do come into play off the tee. Hole number 2 here at Bahia Beach is a par 4 that will certainly challenge most players off the tee.
You got all these bunkers on the right, then you look to your left, you got water to the left, but there's plenty of space between the bunkers and the water, and you really want to play a little bit left of the bunkers.
So your aiming point here at hole number 2 is the 2 tall palm trees off in the distance.
And I always say when I'm there playing with somebody playing it for the first time, try and hit a field goal at those palm trees. That's center cut. And from there you got some space left or right.
Now the really good players who can hit for distance can take on those bunkers and shorten up the hole.
But there's another aspect to that. There's one last bunker that is about another 30, 40 yards past that group of bunkers, and it's downhill. So if you're too long, you can end up in that last bunker.
The green here at number 2 has 3 main pinnable locations. So depending on where the flag is that day will determine how you hit your approach shot into this green.
The wind usually blows a little bit with you, right to left. So when you have that pin to the left, you want to stay right in the middle. Anything in the middle, again, middle to the right, I wouldn't risk it. I would stay maybe just a little bit left of that pin because the wind really comes into play. And sometimes you don't feel it at the fairway level or rough level, but you need to look up at the palm trees and see where they're blowing. And it'll really affect your ball if you're not paying attention.
One of the great things about Bahia Beach, apart from its fantastic 18 holes of golf, is that you can stay on property. The St. Regis Bahia Beach Resort is a boutique property that sits on 500 acres, and it offers its guests all the amenities one could imagine in a tropical setting surrounded within its natural beauty. Set on 483 pristine acres and 2 miles of secluded beach, your escape to the tropics awaits. Located on a former coconut farm, the St. Regis Bahia Beach Resort in Rio Grande, Puerto Rico, offers 139 rooms.
You really can roam about very freely and really feel like you're in your own private enclave.
The St. Regis might be considered a boutique hotel, but it certainly has all the amenities one would desire.
We have golf here, you have tennis, we have an inflatable water park, paddleboarding, kayaking, a 2-mile stretch of a pristine beach. But we're also within 15 minutes of the rainforest, and that is one of the most recognized attractions of Puerto Rico.
On-property dining includes 3 exceptional restaurants and a 4th over at the golf club. The St. Regis Bahia Beach Resort. With the backdrop of the El Yunque rainforest, it is located in one of the most beautiful tropical settings on the entire island.
We really benefit from all that nature comes from that rainforest, including the 2 rivers that enclose our property. We have the Espiritu Santo River that streams straight from the rainforest, and Herradura that comes from the town of Loíza, creating this perfect little sanctuary.
Club, arms, chest, everything is working together and rotating through the ball.
That hole is bordered by the Atlantic Ocean, and then between the fairway and the Atlantic Ocean, there's a row of palm trees.
And from right here, we're not going to try to hit the hands, pushing the hands, pushing the hands.
And now I'm using the center bar.
Hello there, golfers. Juan Sierra here, teaching professional here at Bahia Beach Resort and Golf Club. Today we're going to be discussing a bump and run. It's a shot that we use here a lot at Bahia Beach due to our long greens. First of all, what's a bump and run? Bump and run is a shot that rolls more on the ground than it's in the air. Now, in order to hit that shot, we need a specific club. We can't have a club that has too much loft. Why? Because it's going to get that ball in the air. We want something that has less loft so it rolls more on the ground. Right now I have a 9-iron, which is plenty of loft to get the ball up in the air, but not enough loft for the ball to get going and rolling, okay? Now, first let's discuss what the setup is with our shot. What you're gonna see is that first we're gonna get a little closer to the ball. which is gonna get that club vertical. Let me turn around so you can kind of see the difference. First, when I get closer to the ball, which is gonna get that club vertical, what's it's gonna do is get that club more under me and treat it more like a pendulum, so it's more consistent swing. Second, when I get that ball position more to our back foot, I like to see it more inside of my right foot, okay? So first, we get closer. Second, we put that ball position a little bit more back. And third, most important one is our weight. We want our weight to be on our leading side, more to our left foot if we are a right-handed golfer. What that's gonna do is gonna help us keep that consistent strike on the ground, okay? Now, for our swing thought, once we have all of our three setup keys, which is getting closer, ball position back, weight forward, our swing thought is club, arms, chest, everything is working together and rotating through the ball. All right, let's put that into perspective. Let's see it. Hope that tips helps you once you come play Bahia Beach.
2 of the 3 finishing holes here at Bahia Beach play along the Atlantic, including the par 4 16th. Hole number 16 is named Espiritu Santo in honor of the river that flows from the El Yunque rainforest down to the coast. It's another prime example of why this layout should be on every golfing enthusiast's bucket list. Hole number 16 is a straightaway par 4 that plays to 457 yards from the back tee. The saving grace, it does play downwind. Off the tee, you want to work your tee shot up the left-hand side.
That hole is bordered by the Atlantic Ocean, and then between the fairway and the Atlantic Ocean, there's a row of palm trees. And so you want to stay left. The tee kind of makes you look closer to the palm trees. So I always want to favor left center or even left of the fairway to have a better angle into that green.
On your second shot, you'll be taking aim for a green with an ample amount of protection on the right-hand side. Keep in mind that the wind is coming off the Atlantic, so it's blowing from right to left.
So you really want to concentrate on the pin and aim it a little right of the pin. But you really want to pay attention to the wind on that hole, especially because we're so close to the water. You really feel it more there.
And if you make a mistake and go left, well, there is a bailout area.
But the up and down is not the easiest one. You got to go over a high lip and it's closely mown. So it's not a super easy up and down, but there is a bailout on the left-hand side.
And once you do find the putting surface here at hole number 16, keep in mind that all putts will fall off towards the rainforest, El Yunque. Throughout the program, we've talked about the El Yunque rainforest. It is the only rainforest in the U.S. forest system. It also serves a very special purpose for the island, both geographically, ecologically, and culturally. Did you know that El Yunque National Forest in Puerto Rico is the only tropical rainforest in the U.S. National Forest System? At 29,000 acres, it is one of the smallest in size, yet one of the most biologically diverse. The original inhabitants of the island, the Taínos, called it Yuqueju and described the land in and around the rainforest whitelands. They also gave El Yunque the nickname El Anvil, or the Anvil. That's because whenever a hurricane would threaten the island and the system tracked towards the rainforest, they would bounce off the mountains and spare the island of any major damage. One of the most popular things to do in El Yunque is hiking. There are miles of trails. If you're into plants, you'll enjoy the roughly 240 plant species found in the park, native to Puerto Rico, and they thrive thanks to an average rainfall of 120 inches a year. And with all that rainfall, the water has to go somewhere. The park is home to 3 waterfalls. The most famous is La Coca Fall. At 85 feet, La Coca puts on quite a display after there's been a major rainstorm. Eventually, much of the water heads down towards the ocean, feeding streams and rivers like the Espiritu Santo, which begins high up in the mountains and then flows into the Atlantic. On a clear day, folks flock to the Jokohu Observation Tower. At an elevation of almost 1,600 feet, one can see the magical blue waters of the Atlantic off in the distance, along with lush tropical green mountains.
Everything is summarized into one hole. For me, it's one of the best finishing holes. It's downwind.
Our final look at our course of the week brings us out to the home hole, Bahia. This par 4 represents what Robert Trent Jones had in mind when he redesigned this layout back in 2008. Hole number 18 also represents what Bahia Beach is all about. Hole number 18 is a great par 4 on this Robert Trent Jones Jr. designed golf course here at Bahia Beach. But it represents much more than just golf. It represents what Bahia is all about.
Bahia is about nature, its surroundings, the ocean, the Atlantic Ocean, the El Yunque, our members clubhouse right behind the green. It has the palm trees, the tall palm trees. So everything is summarized into one hole. For me, it's one of the best finishing holes. It's downwind, plenty of room, one of the widest fairways also. But you need to pick a good line, like on every shot here at Bahia.
To the right-hand side of the fairway are the palm tree. Beyond that is the Atlantic Ocean. On the left-hand side, there's water that runs from the tee box all the way down to the green complex.
I like center to left center on this fairway. And that'll give you also a better angle into the green because we have the right to left wind, and hitting into that right to left wind, you can be a little more aggressive with your shot.
On your approach shot here at hole number 18, you'll be taking aim at a green that is fairly deep and does slope from back to front.
So you really got to pay attention when you're hitting your second shot where the pin location is, because very easily you could find yourself with a 40-foot putt, So you want to make sure because it's so long and wide.
Hit to the right spot on the green, and who knows, you could walk off number 18 with a par on this Robert Trent Jones Jr. designed golf course at Bahia Beach Resort and Golf Club.
Very happy, and even happier with a birdie to finish off a great day of golf.
And that's going to do it for this week's show. We do want to give special thanks to all the good folks at the Bahia Beach Resort and Golf Club, the St. Regis Bahia Beach Resort, and Discover Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico and this resort should be on every golfer's bucket list. I'm Alan Hunter. For all of us here at Golf America, hit 'em long and straight, and we'll see you next time.